Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm Patrick Caligiuri. I'm an executive producer. A few people know me as Producer Patrick on social media. And I'll be your host for this evening. Move over, Conan. And but first, before we get started, I want to introduce two very special guests that are here this evening. Ben Allen, California State Senator, District 24, and Rick Zbur, California State Assembly, District 51. And I'd like to invite both you gentlemen up here to say a few words.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. Ben Allen, so glad to stand up here with my good colleague and my assembly member, Rick Zbur, and we're just so proud to represent so many folks from in and around the Hollywood communities. Great film. We got to bring that up to Sacramento and show it to everyone. I just hope that the music wasn't recorded in Bratislava. All right, too soon. All right, too late. I don't know. Hopefully not. So we are here because we know these stories really well. We represent so many Hollywood creatives in our districts, and we've heard so many of these stories of folks who have come here, built lives here, and they're spending half of their time outside of the city because they're working on projects all over the world. Some of them had to change jobs. Some of them have moved. Almost all of them are in a much worse financial situation than they were even just a couple of years ago, and they're struggling to survive here and thrive here and grow families here. And these are stories that everybody here in this room knows. That's why you're all here tonight. So it's why we're working so hard together on trying to extend and expand our TV film tax credit up in Sacramento, which is I'm happy to report that there's been intense negotiations between the Union Coalition and the studios, and we're working on the parameters of some baselines for this initiative. But the whole idea is to raise the base tax credit from 20 up to 35. We're working on which is a really important. Looking to allow more types of productions, including things like 20-minute shows, animation, which is important. And then also increasing incentives for independent productions, and that work's underway too. The challenge, I think, is that we've got colleagues from other parts of the state who don't see this. They see this, they're very confused, quite frankly. Some of them, it's a Northern California, Southern California thing. Of course, we do have extra incentives for productions made out of the 30-mile zone. We've got one particular colleague from the Inland Empire who just today tweeted out, "I'm gonna oppose this with every bone in my body because this is a big giveaway to the studios." There's a lot of folks who don't see the fact that the problem here is the studios don't care where they do the work. They'll go do it anywhere, right? They're still making work. They're still producing incredible shows, incredible films. They're just doing it elsewhere. And what a lot of our colleagues simply don't understand is that this is a middle class, working class problem. The studio heads are going to bed in Bel Air no matter what, right? They're just sending the work elsewhere. It's everybody in this room that really is suffering because that work is getting sent elsewhere. It's about keeping the jobs here. It's about building jobs here, growing jobs here, dealing with helping to ensure that this entire infrastructure that we've all built together over decades continues to thrive and grow. And that's what this effort's all about. So our colleagues need to hear from you. Too many of the members of the legislature, including some members from LA, quite frankly, don't understand what a crisis we have. They haven't heard enough from people in the community. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for you to raise your voices. Your labor representatives are doing that, but we need so much more. We're going to be in hearings over the next couple of weeks in Sacramento as we try to get these bills through. We've got a Senate side, an Assembly side vehicle that is going to be making its way through the legislature. But the legislators need to hear from you. There are so many competing issues and interests right now up in Sacramento. Massive headwinds from the federal government, massive economic headwinds, a lot of nervousness about the financial situation of the state in general for so many different reasons, and total madness on the global stage. And so we need to ensure that your voices are raising up. So I can't encourage you enough to engage with your friends and colleagues and everybody you work with to call legislators and just make sure that they know how much you care about this, how important this is to you, how important this is to your neighborhoods and communities. Because in the end of the day, it's going to be a bit of a fight to get this done because of all the headwinds. I think under normal circumstances, I'd feel a little bit better. I still feel cautiously optimistic because we've got so much good energy and we've got so many people that are working so hard on this. But in the end of the day, the world is in a very strange place right now. A very strange place, and those same headwinds are getting in the way of our ability to move this whole effort forward up in Sacramento. So it's part of why we need you to be engaged. And I just have to say that the Rick Zbur has been such a great champion on this, bird dogging it, helping keep this negotiation forward. And so I just appreciate you very much, Rick. And let's give Rick Zbur a big hand and applause.
So I want to thank Senator Allen, who's been on the Film Commission for many years. I don't even know how long, before I even got into the Assembly. And the two of us have been working together. You know, when I was elected 3 years ago, one of the things that I just couldn't understand, we actually had the film tax credit was coming up for reauthorization right as I was coming in the doors of the legislature, and we didn't have the LA delegation united. Senator Allen and I were working on it, and there were a couple other people that cared about it, but there were very few members, even of the LA delegation, that understood how important this was. And I remember coming at that point and thinking, why is it that we're actually not increasing the size of the tax credit? Because I was already hearing 3 years ago the beginning of the crisis that we're starting to see every day with people not being able to work. And of course, at that time, we didn't have the we didn't have the governor behind increasing the credit. And what we have today is, luckily, Governor Newsom understands how important this is. But this is not a foregone conclusion. As I think Senator Allen has said, we need every one of you to be calling every one of your legislators, and I'm going to give you an assignment, and I'm going to ask every single one of you to call every member of the Assembly Arts, Entertainment, and Tourism Committee, and every member of the Senate Tax and Revenue and Tax Committee before next Tuesday, because we have 2 hearings coming up, and they need to hear from every person that they can hear about how important this is to maintaining jobs in Los Angeles and in the state of California. And one of the things I think we need to just start referring to this as not sort of the tax credit program, and we need to start talking about this as the California Film and Television Jobs Program, because that's really what it is. This isn't a tax credit. It's not a giveaway. As Senator Allen said, we had one of our colleagues who really doesn't understand this tweeted out this morning that this was essentially a tax giveaway to big corporate entities. We need to sort of turn that dynamic around. We need sort of working people to call into the legislature and help people understand how truly important this is. And so I want to thank Senator Allen. I mean, we're working together. I mean, it's really been fun to sort of have this partnership with him. And unlike when I was first elected, we actually have an army of legislators who have come together now. So you've got the 2 of us tonight, but on the Assembly side, we have Assemblymember Quirk Silva and Isaac Bryan and Jessica Caloza and Nick Schultz, who are working hard on this. On the Senate side, we have Assembly members Menjivar and Perez and Stern, and really it's sort of the 8 of us who are really dividing this up and really trying to sort of develop the support that we need to get this over the line. And, and I think people need to understand what this really means. This isn't a tax giveaway. I mean, this is a jobs program that is keeping people in their homes, keeping people with their health insurance, keeping people off the unemployment rolls. If we don't do this, it's going to cost us much, much more than what these tax credits are costing us. And, the other thing that, I keep telling my colleagues is, why do you think that all these other states and governments are putting these really rich tax credit programs in place? It's because, one, they pay for themselves, and because these jobs are jobs that people want. And why is it that we are actually just standing by and letting people cherry pick off the jobs that we have grown here in our iconic industry, where we've got the most talented and hardworking people in the entire world, and we're letting tax incentives lure these jobs away? So anyway, I'm not going to talk any more than that, but to thank you for what you're doing. Thanks, Senator Allen. And make those calls. Those calls really do make a difference. I mean, they need to hear from you. I hope the assembly member who basically made that call, I'm hoping that he gets a call from every single one of you in the next day, and help him understand that this is not a corporate giveaway. These are about jobs for hardworking Californians. So thank you very much.